Hi, and welcome back to my channel, Vivid Travels. Have you ever missed your flight because of a maintenance issue? Have you ever missed your flight because you went to the wrong gate? Have you ever missed your flight because you checked bags and there was no way they were going to get your bags off the flight that you were on to your flight that you needed to get on? Well, today I'm going to tell you a story time about how I almost missed my flight, but because I didn't have any checked bags, I didn't have anything to worry about. So knowing that I was going to be out for a couple of days, I ended up staying up all night trying to film a couple of videos so that I wouldn't have to actually do it once I got back. I ended up staying up all night because I had to work, and while I was filming, it took a lot longer than anticipated, and I had to be at the airport super early. My flight was to take off at 5 o'clock, so that meant that I needed to be at the airport by probably 2 a.m. so that I could get parked, get on the bus to the airport, and get through security. Now, once I got there, I naively thought that I was going to be able to sleep on the plane. Well, lo and behold, the plane gets delayed. And I recently made a video talking about why I like to travel without checking my bags. And let me tell you, this came in handy because at the end of the day, the flight ended up being delayed 3.5 hours, and I would have missed not only my flight, but my connecting flights to Punta Cana, because I would have checked my bags and I would not have had the mobility that I ended up having, which was to be able to move from flight to flight and to get to the Dominican Republic on time. So what happened with my flight? Well, it kept being delayed. It started out as a 20-minute delay, and then they added 30 minutes onto it about 15 minutes later. And it was a maintenance delay. So there really wasn't anything that we could do about it but sit around and wait. After about 45 minutes, I decided I was going to go up to the counter because I only had about an hour to an hour and a half delay between when I was supposed to land in Charlotte from Dallas to when I was supposed to get on my plane from Charlotte to Punta Cana. And they said that there's not much information that they could give me. They allowed me to change my flight to a later time that in Charlotte to go to Punta Cana. Unfortunately, there were no further flights after that specific time frame. I asked about different airports. They did suggest one to Miami, but unfortunately in Miami, the only thing that was available was a standby. And I didn't want to fly all the way to Miami and still not be able to get to Punta Cana because they didn't call any standbys. So we wait. About an hour and a half into this, they decided that they were going to allow people to start changing their flight plans. So they told us we were at gate 29A. They told us to go all the way down to gate 20A and see if we could get something rescheduled. Well, I go all the way down there and I'm looking around. There's one person in line and there's nobody else there. So I walk all the way back to gate A29. The line to talk to the agents is even longer. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make it to Punta Cana today. So I get online. I start searching different airlines because at this point, I'm like, if American Airlines ain't going to get me there, then I'm going to have to find somebody who will. Now, mind you, I'm going for a wedding. So if I miss my flight, the next flight, at least out of Charlotte, would have been to not until 11 a.m. the following day. And that's going out. I wouldn't have gotten to Punta Cana till about I don't know, 3, 4 o'clock p.m. Again, I'm going to a wedding. I didn't even know what time the wedding was. I just knew it was a destination vacation. We were all supposed to be there the day before, and I wasn't there. So I'm freaking out in my mind, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So at this point, I'm looking online I'm looking for different flights that I could possibly take to connecting cities to get me to Punta Cana, because all of the flights leaving Dallas, which were only 2, were completely booked. And there was no chance of me getting on those because I wasn't the only one going to Punta Cana. There were 2 places that people were mainly going. It was Punta Cana and St. Lucia. And the people going to St. Lucia were more screwed than I was, because there was only 1 flight a day that leaves out of Charlotte for St. Lucia. So those people were pissed, and rightfully so. Anyway, I digress. So I go back, I'm standing in line. They say again, hey, you can go down to A20. We have agents there to help you. Again, I walk all the way down to A20. There's probably about 5 people in line at this time and no agents still. So I walk all the way back, and the line for the agents is even longer. And I say, you know what? Okay, I can't do this. Let me tell them, hey, there's no agents at that desk. So they said, oh, well, we didn't know. We're going to get somebody to go down there. So I go back down to A20. Mind you, I haven't slept. I haven't slept in over 24 hours. By this time, it's 6:30. The plane was supposed to take off by 5. I would have already missed my first connecting flight. And so I'm at this gate, and there are only 3 people ahead of me. It's 6:30. And so I'm looking, and I'm like, okay, if I could get to Houston, then I'll be set. And there were 2 flights going out of Houston that I could get on like really quick. There was one leaving at 7 and one leaving at 7:20. So again, there's only 3 people ahead of me. It's 6:30, 6:40, 6:45. At 6:45, I am the next person up. 6:50, 6:55, 7. Now I'm freaking out because I can't get on the 7 o'clock flight to Houston. I'll never make it. The 7:30 flight is really, really close in time. So again, I'm freaking out. I don't know if I'll make it. So I get back online and I look to see if there's potentially another flight that I could get on. There's another flight to Houston leaving at 8:10. I'm still in line at 7:10. I'm still in line. I haven't been called. I waited in line for 35 minutes just to be called. So I get up to the agent desk. I'm trying not to be rude because I need these people to get me to where I'm supposed to be. Trying not to be rude. And I tell them, hey, if you can get me to Houston, that's all I need. Like, I will get myself to Punta Cana. At this point, I had figured out I could buy a one-way ticket on another airline coming out of Houston. I just needed to get to Houston. Well, the 8:10 flight, the lady's talking to me. It's 7:30 at this point. She's getting me, she's looking. I don't know what's wrong with their system, but it takes forever to look anything up. So she's trying to change my ticket. Well, the gates that the 8:10 flight is going out of is in Terminal D. And if you don't know anything about the DFW airport, it's an international airport. It's huge. None of the terminals are actually connected. I was in Terminal A. I had to travel all the way to Terminal D to potentially get on that flight. So she didn't even give me a ticket. She didn't give me a boarding pass. She said, I'm going to send it to the gate. You need to go so you don't miss this flight. So here I am, no sleep deprived, no sleep. I'm running through the airport with thank goodness, no checked baggage, but I do have my carry-on and my personal item on my back. And I'm running through the airport trying to catch the train to get from Terminal A to Terminal D. And long story short, luckily I made it on time. I got there before they closed the gate. I was like the second to the last person on. And the guy was just gonna let me get on the plane because I guess they was ready to go. But I was like, oh, I don't know what seat I'm on. I don't even have a ticket. Like, so he had to print my boarding pass, and thank goodness I made it on the plane. And as soon as I sat down, I bought my ticket for Punta Cana for my one-way flight out of Houston. And that's why I don't like checking baggage, because I could have messed up that entire trip. I could have missed the wedding. I could have missed my time in the Dominican Republic, all because I potentially checked a bag. So if you enjoyed my story, if you enjoy other travel hacks, advice, and tips, please like and subscribe, as you will get more of that in the future. And I would love to hear about your preference. Do you like checking bags, or are you like me and just prefer a carry-on? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, safe travels.